Welcome back. Last week I uploaded a couple videos just because I wanted to document the progress I was making on my Camaro here. And I had no idea that this project would be so popular. I had no idea my junk would capture so much interest. You guys are awesome, and I really appreciate you subscribing. But with all that popularity, I decided to bust out my GoPro instead of filming on my phone. Figured it'd help you guys out, be able to see things a little better. You'll have to forgive me. I have ADD, so I have to write things down. Otherwise, I'm going to forget. With all the new views and all the new comments, I've been asked a few questions. Things like, why am I switching from single plane to dual plane? Why do I want a quadrijet instead of a Holly? And is it really worth it to change from an HEI, from points to a HEI? And these are all great questions. Yeah, I appreciate you guys asking. Keep them coming. I love answering things. I figure first thing is first, I need to tell you what exactly it is I plan on doing with this project. I intend for this to one day be my daily driver. It's not going to be my only daily driver, but I do intend to be able to hop in this thing and cruise down Main Street, get a burger, or drive 2 or 3 states over the next day and have no problems, make it back to town, and then cruise back on Main Street again, and then maybe play around it a little bit at the stoplight just to have a little fun. That's what the car was meant to do. That's what a Camaro was supposed to do. That's why they built them. I really don't need ultra high performance. I'm not looking to race this thing. It's never going to see any track time. It may do a quarter mile 2 or 3 times just because I want to see what it'll do, just to see if it's actually performing like it ought to be running. But I don't intend to do any real racing with it. I also really would like for this car to maintain the same look and feel that it would have had in 1969. So I'm really going to keep the modern upgrades as minimal as possible. It's the HEI distributor, yeah, that's more modern than the points that are in it, but it's still not modern. They got rid of those in, I think, 90. That was 35 years ago. So I'm okay with swapping it out, and GM vehicles did come with HEI distributors. That's another thing too. I wanted to be able to use as many factory GM parts as I could. Not necessarily that they had to be from GM. Like, I'm not going to track down an original GM HEI distributor. I'm going to go get one from AutoZone or O'Reilly's or whatever. It's the same thing, but I'm not going to spend all that money tracking down an original GM part for something that's identical. I hope that makes sense to you. So not going to be doing any LS swaps, no LEDs in the interior lights. I'm not going to be doing coilover suspensions or anything like that. Like I said, I want to maintain the look and the feel that this car would have had in 1969 when it came off the line. And I really think that's going to be cool. If I can get it back to being a daily driver, I think that's just going to be awesome. So that's my goal with this plan, or with this car, is to get it back to daily driving. With that said, I don't need a single plane intake. The thing of it is, I'm not going to get into the whole single plane versus dual plane, because there's tons of videos out there on YouTube. I think Engine Masters even did one. So I'm not going to go in depth with it here, but I'm sure we can all agree that a dual plane will have much better daily driving characteristics than a single plane. yeah, a single plane can handle it, and it would be okay. It wouldn't have any problems with it, but it's just not going to be as good as a dual plane would be for the type of driving that I'm going to do. So that's why I'm going to switch from a dual plane. Also, I've got a couple dual planes sitting around here, so I'm not really spending money to put a dual plane on it other than gaskets. So there's that. Next, let's see what else was next. Yeah, the dual plane is really more for full throttle. I'm not really going to see much full throttle, 15 seconds maybe. Whatever this thing will do in the quarter mile, that's as long as I'm going to hold it wide open throttle. And that's going to be 2 or 3 times a year, maybe. And like I said, I'm just not going to be doing that type of driving. I had somebody ask me about why don't I adapt the quadrijet that I have that's working to the single plane. The main reason is because I know I'm going to put a dual plane on it. I don't have an adapter. I have a dual plane. So all I need to do is go get the gaskets, and I know I'm going to swap them out anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Rather than, it's just more efficient to just go ahead and swap out the manifold, because that's what I'm going to do anyway. So when it comes to carburetors, I came up with a few options. I rummaged around in my dad's garage, or in his barn, and I actually came up with a few options. Now, of course, the Holly was already on the car, but I came up with a couple other options. I'll show you those here.